Well, hello, everybody. Another Saturday's turned up, and it surprised me. It's probably surprised you too, but welcome anyway. And it's a big warm welcome to the two other awesome people that have joined us this week. We've got Inky down the bottom and Andy, and we'll start with ladies first. I think if I hit this button, it will be you, Inky, but it will say Darren, so I'm going to have to sort that out. But let me, while you're talking, say how's your week and everything, and I'll sort out your title.
Yeah, it's been a good week. It's been nice and sunny. I uploaded a 45-minute set, so if anybody wants to see that, I can give them a link. I've been getting into the Force and controlling the deep mind with it. And finally liking that now. I've just got it on the piano setting all the time because I tried to learn all these pads, but I didn't really understand them. So I've gone back to it looking like a piano. And now I can totally use it. That's been it, really.
Oh, that's good.
So hello to everybody in the chat room.
That's awesome. And then we'll go over to Andy. Big hello to you, Andy. Thanks for joining us.
No, well, my pleasure. Hi, everybody. So, yeah, funny week. I've finally solved all my car problems by getting rid of it and getting a new car. And as I think I said last week, it causes me huge amounts of stress and anxiety, all of that sort of thing. But it's all gone through. Everything's happened, and now I've got a nice little dinky runaround car, which will last, I hope, because it's got a nice Kia 7-year warranty on it. So if it does go wrong, somebody else will pick up the tab rather than me having to pick up the tab. So phew. And honestly, as soon as it was all done, it was like a huge amount of stress, like lifted off my shoulders. And right, okay, that's that. So that's actually been my week, and then getting a stinking cold. That's all part and parcel of everything at the moment. Inky said it's been lovely. It's done nothing but pissy down here all week. Oh, sorry, I swore again.
Because you've got a cold. Is everyone giving you the coronavirus death stares because you've got a cold?
Well, I went and had the test.
You're not allowed to have colds anymore.
Yeah, I did go and actually have the COVID test, and it's come back negative. So it's just a common cold. How dull.
Disappointing. Disappointing. Let's say good day to the chatties, as we like to do every week. So big warm welcome to everyone who's jumped into the chat room. And if you haven't, make sure you get in there, because by the time I scroll down this massive big long list, you might be able to get your name read out. If that's a cool thing, I don't know. Finn, how you going, mate? Inverted Popes, Wagoo, Mr. Max in there. Ozio Head, Sonic Neutronic, Wayne Murray, Michael B. Where are we going? Chalurian's there, Michael Elliott. As I scroll, I have to remember, have I said this name? Nico Blockier is there. Good to see you, buddy. We've also got, scrolling. John Shea, Triple Eight Berg, Andrew Mee. Who else?
Daz has just popped up.
I think there's been a few people. Your name here, we were joking about that before. It's awesome to see you again. And every time he comes in, I say the same thing, so I'm probably starting to lose my mind slowly. Who else is there? I haven't quite got to Dazzy yet.
Pope.
Yeah, I said inverted. He was right. He was the first. Steve Elbows. There you go. How you going, Steve? Good to see you again.
Axel.
Dazza, yes. Axel. Oh, Axel's just dropped in. Cool. Good to see Axel as well. Awesome.
Axel, though, not seen his name pop past yet.
He's in the live chat, in the other live chat.
He's in the
I'll go back. Yeah.
Well,
in the Discord. In the Discord. See?
Discord.
There he is there. Michael B's there as well. So if you do want to join Discord, there is a link in the description of the video. So yeah, beautiful. Cool. Fantastic. Okay, so this week we've got quite a bit prepared. So we'll start off with our usual segments. We'll probably hit the stinger for the funny side first. We'll go with that. and hopefully this will work beautifully. So funny side, if you're new, this is kind of just us finding memes during the week, and we think we just want to share them with you. And you've probably already seen them anyway. But Andy's been busy giving me a few, and I can't remember whose is whose, but we'll start off with this one. This is someone's taken a photo of a piano, and that's how you play Jaws. I thought that was good. And some of these memes, I swear, I find them in non-synth based places. So, it's interesting, and how you can tie it back to this. All right. I think this was yours, Andy. Buys a TR-808. Can't find the dubstep button.
Yeah, I saw that, just made me chuckle.
Fantastic. What else we got? This one was from from one of our regulars. Every FM synthesis workshop ever. I actually did laugh quite a bit when I saw this. I like that one.
I've just read it all. It's really good, yeah.
Yeah. I'll make it easier for people who are watching this on a phone. I'll just zoom it in for you a bit more. There you go.
You've just got a YouTube sting, by the way.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, moving right along.
And cost you 36 cents,
That will probably, yes. And this one was kind of part of the same thread that I found the other one from. So here's your child texting about FM synthesis. BRB, bandwidth resolution below. Nyquist. LOL, low operator level. BTW, better than triangle waveform. Dear me. Mothers Against Techno.
That is good.
That was good.
That is good.
So
it's really clever.
Yeah, so sometimes they're pretty good, the memes. Sometimes they're really cheesy, but yeah. Sorry for all the FM synthesis people there that have taken offense to it, and they've thrown their synth at the screen.
Yeah, Andrew Mees just said LB equals lately bass.
Lately.
Good one, Andrew.
That was good. Yes, yeah, you should have.
That's my initials.
Yeah, it is too.
That's my real initials.
It is too, yeah.
Yeah, and of course it's Inky.
I'm going to nick that.
I'm going
to nick that.
All right, let's move on to news. Okay, news is all ready to go, so we'll hit the stinger. Welcome to News from the Geekery. Now, this week it's actually it's like freebie specials this week, bar one. But most of the stuff I'm going to show you, it's all going to be free, and I think that's awesome. And there's actually something else that's going to be really cool. So, without further ado, I'll start off with the first one that's not free, and we actually don't even know how much this one is. But this is the Majella or Majella audio. This is called the Implexus, and it's bit of a West Coast style analog synth, and the thing I like about this is they're traveling down that sort of harmonic path now with a lot of synthesis. And what I like about this though is it's a knob per function type synth. And has anyone ever made an acronym for knob per function? Or one knob per function? So are they go KPF or are they going to go OKPF? I don't know. Someone's going to, and everyone's going to use that from now onwards. Anyway, which gives it sort of decent intuitive feedback. And they've got these kind of, you'll see in the video, but they've got these kind of LED rings around the knobs, which gives you that really cool informational sort of modulation feedback and stuff. It's got drone mode, tap tempo, looping envelopes, standalone module. So it doesn't require really anything plugged into it. You can just use this sort of Buchla sort of style. But also it has MIDI and Eurorack connectivity to it. Pretty sturdy. I like how they're starting to say this now. So they're saying we've built this with metal shaft potentiometers and aluminium casing and an internal power supply. So they're saying these are the things that people are saying, stop giving us wall, stop giving us plastic, they're sort of talking about this stuff. Anyway, without further ado, just have a look at the video. I haven't actually watched this yet, so hopefully there's no swearing and I don't get stung. Well, what happened there? Jeez. It's caught me having a drink. Let's go back. Start again.
It's only 16 seconds.
Oh, that's probably why. That was weird.
Yeah.
All right, you guys see it? Did you guys see that? That really caught me
You'll
by
have to
surprise.
wait for the next one to take a sip, Runs.
Yeah, I will. All right, so we go back to the graphic. Anyway, so no pricing yet. Majella Audio, Majella or Majella-audio.com. There's a link in the description. Price will be based on a Kickstarter project. So once that's all out, we'll probably find out a bit about that. Wasn't really anything to sort of go by for you guys, but do you guys want to make a quick comment on that, or should we move on to the next one?
Oh, is it more? Did he say more West Coast than?
Yeah,
So
Buchla.
a bit like the like the No Coast, the Buchla things. Yeah, I quite like the idea of things that do it a bit different. I mean, there is so much choice out there for sort of basic analog synthesis these days, and that to have a different take on it is always welcome. That's why I've always sort of quite fancied having a go on an O Coast or No Coast because it's not the same. It's different. And life forms. Who are they called? Pittsburgh did a take on it as well. I mean, Robin Vincent had got that. I think he found it a bit of hard work actually, but I think it's an interesting thing to sort of investigate. So
yeah.
Of course, on this, it depends how much it's going to cost.
Well, we don't know. So a few people are saying
I suspect it's not going to be cheap because it looks like they've definitely gone down the quality route and that the components are high end and things, which means the end result will be expensive, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, I the only sort of West Coast thing that I've got is the Vulcan modular, whatever it's called. And I find that thing extremely sort of chaotic to use at times, but that's a cool thing. So you sometimes want that sort of chaos in your music development. So, yeah. Inky, do you want to have a quick comment about that, or should we go to the next one?
Just to agree with Andrew there, and I think chaos is kind of good. Not knowing what you're doing could be quite good. So, yeah, it looks sturdy. But again, it's price, isn't it? So
yeah, we don't know.
We'll see.
I think it's a bit premature to sort of even go there. I think that we need a bit more of that than 18 seconds of a video too. So anyway, we'll keep going with the news. What's the second one? So back to freebie land. So this one I thought, we'll start off with this one because it's more of a simpler thing. So if you guys have got a MacBook Pro, I think they are, with the touch bar. So these are those, if you haven't got a sort of recent Mac, and I'm talking probably 2 or 3 years, I guess now they've been around for. They've got this sort of like a LCD screen above the keyboard you can see there. So the guy that makes the Samplr app for iPads, his name's Marcus Alonso, has launched this. It's a free app that puts your touch bar into a Samplr touchscreen, and you can see there. Now, there is a little video on this, so it is free. So let's just have a quick looky.
Finger wiggle.
Anyway, you guys get the idea. I think that most of that video played anyway. But yeah, a free app if you've got a MacBook Pro. If you're into Windows, sorry. And I don't know why he hasn't developed something for Microsoft Surface, because Microsoft Surface has a brilliant touchscreen on it, which would be awesome. But anyway, it's free, so beggars can't be choosers. Quick reaction from gentlemen and ladies.
I think
Okay,
it's awesome.
I don't...
If I had a Mac,
wait, doing first.
Sorry, if I had MacBook, I'd be getting that, and I'd be spending hours of fun on that. Just just to mess around with. Yeah. So yeah, good that he's done it, and good that it's free. But I don't own a MacBook. So.
Fair enough. Andy, do you want to say something?
I'm not getting one for that.
Absolutely ditto what Inky's just said. That was a great demonstration. It sounded fab. What a really clever idea. But I'm not buying a Mac just so I can do that. But if you've got one already, why wouldn't you? If you've got one with that little strip, you can do that. Oh, and it's free. That was a great little tool. What fun.
Yeah. So now everyone's got to rush out and buy a MacBook Pro just to get the sample strip.
The most expensive app in the world.
It's like a $3,000 sample strip. Brilliant. Okay, moving right along. Well, anyway, that app is actually quite well known. The Samplr app on the iPad is really well known. So if you use that app, all those features will look familiar. Okay, the next kind of free.
Andrew Mees just said, it's a free app. It just needs a $3,000 laptop.
That's it. Yeah. And a free set of steak knives. Okay, next one. We have got some information coming from Erica Synths, which I think this is massive. These guys are taking leadership.
It looks scary.
These guys are taking leadership. Basically, so last year they announced they were doing these DIY modules called the Polyvox, and they said they were going to discontinue them. And everyone's like, "Oh no, you discontinue." Anyway, so what they've turned around now and they've said, "Well, we're going to make our Polyvox modules open source." Now you think, okay, this is hardware. Isn't open source software? Well, no. Open source can be hardware as well. And so what Erica Synths are going to do, or have already done, I should say, is they've actually set up a GitHub website for the Polyvox modules, and you can now download the Gerber files for the PCB measurements, where it's where all the screw holes and circuits and everything goes. Build of parts list or build of materials. You can get those. You can get instructions and notes on how to build these modules. So literally, you can start from scratch and completely DIY this right from the start, which I think is amazing, because what they've done is they've said, we're not supporting this anymore. So this is something they've had for a while, and they've said, right, we're dropping this, but over to you guys. So it hasn't kind of killed it. It's kept it alive. So anyone who's got the Polyvox stuff already, maybe they miss out on getting one or two modules, they can now go and build their own. And I think this is taking a bit of a leadership sort of role. So hats off to them. Now, I've got a little video just to sort of refresh our memories what the Polyvox ones look like. This is an older video, but just to refresh your memories. So you can see there's a good selection of modules across there. Just gives you an idea of that. Now, what do you guys think about this whole idea of a manufacturer going, right, I'm going to open source something that we're going to drop? So I'll give you an example. So let's look at Roland and their V-Synth, right? That was probably one of the biggest, people were throwing their V-Synths at the screen when Roland dropped the support for that. So imagine if Roland turned around and said, we're going to open source the software and the hardware for V-Synth, and someone who's got software engineering background can take it on and keep it going. What do you guys think about that idea?
So there's other models for it, though, aren't there? I mean, other companies have made their digital data and the circuit boards and all that open, mutable instruments for the clouds, and their other things that they're basically you can just make your own almost. I think it's really great that they're doing it. I really do. If they say, well, okay, we're not making them anymore, but you can do it for yourselves. Fill your boots with it if you want. There you go. I mean, if you're a dab hand at the electronics and you know what you're doing, I think you'd have to know what you were doing, really. I don't think a dunce like me would be able to turn his hand to that straight away. But I think it's great. I think it's an act of generosity, I think. you could go away and do it for yourself. And they sound fantastic, don't they? Whenever you listen to these Erica Synths things, it always sounds like the intro to a skinny puppy. It's always quite dark and threatening.
Yeah, it does. And look, your example with Mutable is precisely, another company that does that really, really well. So, and there's a lot of love for Mutable instruments out there. So Erica Synths are just going to build rapport. Inky, did you want to have a quick comment about that, or?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Andy, and it's great how these smaller companies are showing the bigger companies. I mean, I never really understood why people don't do it with software. If you're not going to sell it or update it or use it, why don't you make it open source? And the fact bigger companies could look at that, say if they discontinued the MPC Live, why can't we see what's in it so we can repair it? So, they're showing bigger companies, aren't they? And good on them.
Yeah,
they will get a lot of love. So
yeah, excellent. So we're all kind of on the same page. Now, there was a couple of comments in chat. I thought I'd bring them in. We don't usually do this during news, but I thought, why not? Mr. Max said a good one. We'll add that, and we'll also add a couple more. I think there was a comment about Mutable. There we go. Okay, so Mr. Azio had said, talking about giving back to the community, this is really it. Exactly. That's exactly what we're talking about. And
that's a good point.
And, if you're going to abandon someone called it abandonware, that's what, you should do with it. So Mr. Max saying it should be law to open source a product if you're going to abandon it. That could be a possible thing to do. I don't know how that would work.
In my world, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're never going to use it or sell
it's somebody's intellectual
why
property
not?
still. Yeah, it's still somebody's intellectual property, and you can't. I don't think you could make it law to say that you have to give that away. You can make the choice to give it away.
Yeah.
No, you can't make it
because I mean, let's say, record companies, that they delete back catalogue, but that the pieces of music on the back catalogue are still somebody's, intellectual copyright, and they would still be entitled to receive those royalties from the sales of the records or the radio play and that sort of thing. So, and I'm sure similar things must apply to the software that's in products, the code, even the design must have some element of intellectual property built into it. So I think companies have to, if they say we are no longer going to, they can choose. The fact that sort of Erica Synths are choosing to, and that Mutable Instruments have always chosen to. This is a like you said, signposting it for the bigger companies. This is what you can do if you're not going to support it anymore. I think so. Yeah.
And as long as Behringer don't go and clone, no, I'm just joking. Yeah. Robbie's just joined us. Fal Muso is in the chat room, and also Music's Co is there as well. So big hello to you guys. Now we'll keep going with the news. What did we get up to? I think the last one here. Nick, you probably like this one. I don't know if you saw this or not. There's an update to the Launchpad. Now this is a Launchpad Pro Mark 1, so not the Mark 2. This is the older Launchpad, and this is a custom or DIY or third-party firmware that you've been able to get. It's called. It's now called 32. Software engineer Quentin Lamaran released it a little while ago, but now he's updated it. It's version 2.0, and it makes this thing a 32-track sequencer, which is pretty cool. And I do have a little video on this, and the good news is this is free. So let's check it out. Are we going to play? Here we go. Some noise. Functionality. Here we go. he's just going through a bit of functionality with that, but you guys get the idea. Now, this is completely free. There's a link in the description on how to get it if you've got a Launchpad Pro Mark 1. Mark 1, be careful. Don't put this on your Mark 2. Also, bear in mind, too, that if you do put this on your Launchpad, it will take off the Novation firmware. So if that's a bad thing or a good thing, I don't know if you back it up or something like that. So just be careful with that sort of stuff. But what do you think of that, Inky? I think there's going to be more that you'll need to look at with that, but quick look at that. What do you think?
Yeah, that looks pretty smart, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have MIDI though, does it? The Launchpad Mark 1.
It's USB.
But I haven't got a USB to old DIN really, so I'd have to. Because I'd be tempted to pick one up, second hand, just for that, because that looks pretty good. Or even just to try out with like my phone or something. But yeah, good on him. Again, somebody giving it to the community. Because Novation's got a good community.
Yeah.
People keep on to their products. They hold on to their products. So I'm sure this is going to go down well to anyone who's got one. So
yeah. Just a quick one on the you don't have USB to MIDI DIN. Just so what I got you there. There's a couple. There's plenty of options for you with that. But obviously you can now use your Akai MPC Live. That'd be one way you can get that around that. Second way,
I kind of made a decision a long time ago because I know I can get around it like that. I've made a decision not to go that route on purpose. Let me tell you now, because I wanted to keep it simple. So I've got like a MIDI through box and stuff like that. But once I get into USB, it's another thing, isn't it? So, but if you want to show everybody else, that's fine. But
fine.
I'm not going to get into USB until it's absolutely necessary. Until
Fair enough.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's probably there now, and when when MIDI 2.0 comes out, it'll probably be there even more. But I don't think the DIN is dead. I think the DIN will become more TRS as opposed to the old-fashioned DIN plug. I think that's probably what manufacturers will be now going to. But I don't think the DIN's dead. We talked about this once. We had we did a stream. I had Andrew Mees in the chat now. And we had a guy called Adhan Bilius, who's actually from the MIDI Manufacturers Association. And we talked about, is the DIN dead? And all of us thought, no, because the actual physical mechanical hardware of the DIN plug is capable of supporting massive data throughput. It's the actual the protocol that's actually letting it down.
Yeah, in the DIN plug, it's only 2 pins that are actually used out the 5, isn't it? I believe it's...
Yeah, there's a ground as well.
Yeah, that's the bottom one.
Yep.
But there's 3 that aren't even used. So could someone do that, please? That'd make me happy.
Yeah. Well, that's why they're doing the TRS.
Though. Is it 2 of the pins that aren't used?
Yeah, 2 of them. There's 5 pins altogether, and 2 of them aren't used. Yeah. Well, I can tell you. But anyway.
Yeah. Well.
Let Andrew tell you.
Well done. Thank you.
Okay, I think we got to the end of the news. That was the last one, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Cool. So, it was like free stuff this week, and I reckon that's good. And if I can do that more often, like, I think that's good for us because, sometimes we show stuff and it's like, oh, no, that's like a $7,000 synth. I really want this, but, like, you're looking at your credit card balance and you think, it's not going to happen. Like, so it's nice to have some free things out there. And that doesn't mean that the people that are making this free stuff should work for free either, because that's not fair on them. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was interesting when I was looking at through the news stuff. There's a new Neve desk being released, which looks absolutely fantastic. Until you see the price tag, and I thought, well, that's there might be 1 or 2 of the viewers of the stream who could afford to go out and buy themselves a Neve desk, but most of us can just dream. So,
yeah.
But it did look lovely. It really looked like the sort of thing you just love to sit behind. Anyway.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Okay, we've got one more segment to get through, and I think it's this one. Been busy, the scammers and price watch lately. So, yeah, I don't know what's happening in the world. Maybe everyone's thinking about selling their gear and they just really have no idea what to charge for it. Andy, you brought that one in last week, so it kind of didn't make it into the show last week, but it's made it into this week. But yeah, this one's a Korg MS-10 who's got a meth addiction, and it's mint.
I'm not sure that was me. I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, you haven't seen that? Okay. This is mint. It comes with some mods. It's got the special break your finger keyboard mod and cut and get some sort of tetanus infection while you're at it. That's one of the best mods I've ever seen, I tell you. A few missing mods. That probably might come as the second best mod I've ever seen. Like, just take knobs off and say, I've modded my synth. I mean, and then let's put a 6,900 price tag on it. Brilliant stuff. What do you guys think?
Whoa.
There's even a warning sticker saying that, you know, it's electrically unsafe on the top left-hand corner.
There was,
that makes my Pro 1 look positively healthy.
Dear me. So there's some good ones coming in. This one was from Andrew Mees in the chat. Andrew was reminding me to put this one up. It's an eBay auction and it's finished, and it's from a guy from Queensland in Australia, and he wants $11,550 for a GR700 retro solid timber matching electric guitar. Notice there was no bids. This auction has ended, by the way. Nikki?
Isn't that quite rare, though?
It probably is.
Know.
It probably is.
There's something ringing about that guitar with that. I mean, I'm not sure if it sounds good, but I think they are quite rare, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm wrong.
But they're not $11,000 rare, which is £7,000.
You're looking at it as a synth head. A guitarist might disagree.
Maybe.
Your average guitar is about $3,000, isn't it? A decent one.
Anyone in the chat can tell us if they're willing to pay £7,000 for this. I'll put you in contact with the owner in Queensland and Australia. I actually don't know him, by the way, but anyway.
Ramsey, can I ask you about this? Is that a separate guitar, or was the guitar sold together with that unit? Because in my memory, the Roland guitar synthesizers were all sorts of like, they came with the guitar. They were sort of like silver and angular and had like a crossbar across the top, and they looked sort of very space age and never really worked properly. But I don't know enough about them because I'm not a guitarist. I never really paid much interest to those. But so, or is this a thing that will work with absolutely any guitar, assuming it's got the right pickups on it? Or something?
No. It has to have the matching guitar, I believe.
Well, it's got to have the pickup in it. That's really the trick. Right. It's got to have. There's a separate pickup. You'll notice on the where the pickups are, there's a special pickup there, and that will then send off the data into the GR700. I'll show you mine in a sec. I'll go grab mine. I've got one of the more modern ones, and you can have a look. I'll show you what they look like.
Right.
Yeah, mine's on a 707 though. Mine's like a 2 years old. So yeah. Anyway, where's the button for that? Yeah. So that one was interesting. Well done, Andrew. Beautiful. Good job. So someone's saying that guitar. So your name here is saying the guitar looks like it's from a GR303. So it could just be all just wrong. But yeah, interesting. That one's got some people talking. We'll keep going. Was this yours? Yes, was yours, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes. Again, I'm not really sure that that's a scam, but it does just seem like a lot of money for a retro mono synth, and not even one that's particularly highly regarded. I know that people do like them, but it's not up there with your mini Moogs and Odysseys, that one, is it? So £1,300. maybe it's a fair price.
Well,
if you're a collector.
The Pro Mars is basically the mono version of the Jupiter 4.
Yeah. Jupiter 4, yeah. It's a one-voice Jupiter 4.
Yeah, so it's got a few other bells and whistles that the Jupiter 4 doesn't, and the Jupiter 4's got obviously 4 voices, blah blah blah. We get but £1,300 is actually about what they go for. So, and if obviously reasonable. if it's working and everything, there are people that really like these. So, one of the things that this boasts is it kind of. If you look at the photo, it kind of looks a little bit like the Yamaha gear, like the CS stuff, right? The CS80, the CS60. It's kind of got a bit of that, that they were kind of competing with each other. And one of the things this is kind of early, like late 70s, it's got memories and patch memories in it. And this is the way they did it kind of the hard way in the early days. So this was really quite sought after because of that functionality. Before that, you didn't really get that sort of stuff. So this is a real trip down memory lane. We kind of forget that stuff even existed, don't we? That they didn't really have proper digital memory, and I think the computers that you had in those days were like Z80s, and so yeah. Anyway, do we have another one? We do. Oh, okay. So this one's not a scam. I just put this one here purely because I just wanted to talk about it, and that is that someone is actually selling a DX1. These are. So the price on this is not scam at all. This is actually pretty reasonable. Not the fact that they've knocked $3,000 off of it for a start. I don't know about the shipping though, unless they're like carrying it on the back of camels across the Sahara Desert for that price. I don't think the shipping's that reasonable. But then again, if you're going to get, it's probably an insurance value in there, I guess. The DX1s are
very big and very heavy.
Extremely rare now. And if
there's only about 50 of them, aren't there?
If you can get your hands on one, they're a beautiful synthesizer. They sound 10 million times better than a DX7. They are just absolutely beautiful. So I just thought I'd say that.
I've seen that Robbie Piricelli was in the chat, Failed Muso. If he could tell us, he'd probably know how many DX1s were actually made. I don't think there were many more than 50 or so. They didn't really make very many of them, so it'd be good to know
if
he's got the info.
Well, there we go. We got to the end of Price Watch scammers, whatever you want to call it, spammers. Yeah, and a couple of people are saying is 22K rare. Yeah, I can buy it from my monthly YouTube income. Yes, thank you very much for that. If you had any idea how much I don't make out of YouTube, the answer is crickets. Anyway, do this purely just for love. Yeah, why can't Yamaha make a cheap one? I think Yamaha are probably like a bit like Roland. They just want to keep moving forward. They don't really want to revisit the past. I don't know. I don't speak for Yamaha. So the stuff that they make is always good quality anyway. So yeah, I'm rolling in money.
The FM engines into their current synths. I mean the Modi X is basically got all of those models in. I mean, if you were desperate for a DX1 but couldn't fork out $22,000, there is the DX5, which is very, very similar. It's 2 DX7s in a box. I think some of the DX7 Mark IIs had split and layer. Did the DX2 FD have a split point?
Yeah, yeah, it's twice as many.
So if you wanted that, you can get them for not the same amount of money as a DX1.
Well, I've got a DX7 too, and it's a really, really nice synth and built like an absolute tank, that thing. So yeah, remind me to grab the guitar so I can show you that before we forget about it, because it's just sitting over there, and I've got to get it while I'm not running the show type thing while someone else is talking. But yeah, okay, moving on. We have got our main show, which is we're going to be talking about the Akai Force, I think, and it's a topic. I mean, I've got to choose a topic each week. So I just decided to pick this one because I've had this now for a couple of weeks, and I felt, about time I talked about it. I kind of didn't really want to sort of talk about it earlier because I felt that I didn't really know enough about it. I mean, Inky would know a lot more, even still now, than me. But yeah, now that I've had a play and I'm sort of starting to get used to it, it's a very, very interesting beast, to say the least. But yeah, so okay, well, I guess what we can do is ask you guys to ask questions and get me to try things out. But I've got the A10 Mini back too, which is also very handy. But so I can get different camera angles on this. One of the things I love about it is, and Inky, you could jump in at any time with comments as well, is I love how the screen, which you can see the MPC live over there, and the screen here, they're the same size screen, right? But the thing that I love about this, which the MPC live doesn't do, is these pads aren't necessarily connected to what's happening on the screen. And that's actually a cool thing because in this case, you can see on the screen here, I've got the mixer, and down the bottom, I've got the pads set up as clip launchers. So whereas in the MPC live, if you wanted to clip launch, the screen is, replicating what's on the pads. And I always used to find that was kind of the downside of the MPC, if that makes sense. Like for me, it used to frustrate me. And that's why I did videos, and Inky and I have done videos talking about this before, where we were plugging in extra bits of MIDI controller gear into the MPC so that we've got more control over the functionality of the MPC, because otherwise you're going to have to change screens and then you might not want to change screens. So for me, one of the things I love about the way they've programmed is that disconnect with the screen. And then if you add to that, they got this knobs row here. So these are kind of like sensitive knobs that you can touch and it shows things, and they've got these OLED displays just above it. But you can hold down this button here and you can choose between, I've got to keep holding it down. You can actually choose between a whole bunch of functions these knobs do. And one on the bottom right is, if you want, you can actually make it so that it follows the screens. So at the moment, I've got mine set to volume because I actually do think volume is actually probably one of the best functions of this at all. But yeah, you can make it so that it follows the screen. Track, project, sends, and pan. So there's quite a lot of functionality. And they believe with the new firmware update, there's going to be even more Inky with the knobs. So that'll be good. So yeah. This is very similar in a way to Ableton. So if you guys have used Ableton and you've used clip launching in the session view, the session view. I always forget which one. Yeah, the session view is the one where you see all the mixing stuff, isn't it? Yeah. So in Ableton, this is kind of like the session view where you've got the columns of tracks and you've got little, clips. It doesn't work 100% the same as Ableton though. But if you're familiar with that, it won't be kind of, foreign to, yeah. And are you using yours as kind of a mixer at the moment as well? I'm just curious because I'm kind of doing that at the moment, but I just wanted to find out from you.
Yeah, I've just started doing that, feeding audio back into it. What do you mean on internal tracks or feeding audio back into it?
Yeah, like, well, I mean, at the moment, I'll just go back to that shot and then I'll come back to you. At the moment, I've got this right-hand track here is actually an audio. There's no clips on this at all, but it's literally just taking audio directly from the main out of my MX1 mixer. So all the stuff that the MPC Live is running is powering MIDI and tracks and stuff like that, and it's outputting through the MX1 mixer, and then it's coming in through the Force that way. And because I've got it as an audio track, I can record clips and blah blah blah. I can do all that sort of cool stuff.
Well, yeah, I've kind of done the same thing. So the Force can either go to a DJ mixer behind me and become an auxiliary into it, but at the same point, that can also be taken, the whole of that kit can be taken out and put through here. So I've got two sets of wires ready to plug in to which way I want to do it. So yes, I do that. I do use it so either the mixer or the Force is the last in the chain, audio chain.
Yeah. And then, so back to my view here, the output of my Force, just so I can hear it, is going into my other, I've got a second mixer, which is my Presonus Studio Live. So if I was to play something, you'd hear it. You guys would hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Yeah, it's coming through. All right, so that way, if I want to, I can just record the main out on it. I haven't done that yet, but I could. But really, all I'm sort of doing that for is just so I can monitor things elsewhere if I want to. Now, the other thing too is it's a bit hard to see on that view. Let's get us back. Just give me a second. I'm just going to change this camera angle. The way the headphones work on this, it's kind of DJ-y. So if you're not into DJ-y stuff, you kind of should learn. So the headphone socket is right here. You can see my fingers touching it, just on the front here. Along the front, you've got an SD card slot. You've got a phone's potentiometer next to the phone's plug. And you've also got this Q mix potentiometer. So one of the things that you can do with this is you can cue stuff up. So you could actually have stuff playing, but nobody can hear it. Like if you're in a club, which is actually really, really, really powerful. And this is why these headphones, I've got a separate pair of headphones here that I use just to monitor stuff that's going on the Force. I don't need them on now, but I just thought I'd show you that. I think that's even if you're not a DJ, I think that's actually a cool feature. Like it actually helps you prepare yourself. It's kind of like it's a way for you to make less mistakes. If you're not a DJ, DJs use this stuff all the time, so that's their world, and they kind of expect these things to be in their stuff. But if you're just a music producer, that's actually a cool thing to learn how to use that and muck around with the cues and differences between what people are hearing and what they're not. So yeah. Now, a couple of questions I got through the chat. So let's keep an eye on the chat, guys, for me, please. It's a bit hard for me to sort of do that at the same time. But what I'll do is I'll go through and flag what I can. Let me just clear this queue.
Well, Robbie's just told us that there were 140 DX1s. Just thought we'd chuck that one in. Oh,
okay. Now, Musico said a little while ago, I can't find it now, but I'll just mention it anyway. He said, "Is this like a looper?" So no, it's not, but it does have a looper in it, and the looper is probably one of its worst features. The looper works in it like the same as the MPC Live. It's exactly the same firmware for the looper. It works kind of like one of those crazy looper guitar pedals, and it really doesn't really have any. I don't think it has really any link other than recording and looping audio to the main thing. You can loop itself as well. You can record the internal output of it and things like that. Look, I'm probably rubbishing it a bit too much, but to me, it's not the most intuitive looper. What this is not really built to be a looper. This is more like a clip launcher, and the clips don't have to necessarily be audio clips. They can be MIDI clips, and they can be drum clips, and it's also got its own synth engines inside as well. So it's more just kind of that. It's kind of like a little mini DAW in a way, but not so computer mousey, more hands-on, more performance-based. That would probably be the best way to describe it. Yeah. So any more questions, chuck them in chat. Don't forget to flag my name if you really want me to, like what Musico's doing, just flag my name and it'll come up red on my thing and I can see someone's asking about it. And that makes it easier. Right, so let's go back to this view. Inky, don't forget to mention stuff as I'm going. I'm going to move away from the mic a little bit, so it might be a bit quiet, a bit echoey. Now, camera angles. This one's a good one because you guys can sort of see kind of how I use it. And I don't always have the strike fit in the middle here. I've just got that there for now because I'm doing something with it. But what I usually have is I'll have the MPC Live running and the Force running at the same time, but they're both synced using Ableton Link. So if I hit play on this and I hit play on that, what you've got is the drums are a sampled drum from a drum kit, which are all samples, but everything else that you're hearing is actual live synths being MIDI sequenced from the MPC Live. And I can mute them. And I can mute the drums. So that delay here on the mini log is actually playing the drums. I'll just show you the mini log. See? Not the drums, the bass. What am I saying? How do I go back to that other view? I've lost it. And the other thing too, when you're using this, you can build stuff up, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to do it the way I'm showing you, but I just thought this is kind of a cool thing. Like if I know that in this track, I might only just want to have a clean kick and then a clean kick and a hat. That's all I want. So I've got those just set there just for me to, it makes it easy for me just to hit that button. Or if I want to change the drums completely, I might want to go. So another thing that I like to do, and everyone is going to work differently. Inky will work differently to me, will work differently to Ken, who's also got one of these, who you guys know Ollie Laboratories, he's got a Force as well. We will all work differently, and we'll use this differently. So for example, with me, what I'm enjoying about this is I can record an audio loop from one of my synths, and then I can then just keep looping that. So I'll just give you an example. I don't even know if I've got the sub 37 plugged in. So I'm just going to move over to my sub 37. I won't be able to talk in the mic for a sec because the mic's too far away. And I'm going to play something just manually on the keyboard of the sub 37. And then I'm going to come back to the Force and I'm going to show you how that works when you can get it all synced up and timed. So this is just an example. I just played those last little sort of crappy notes just to show you that was live, right? But listen to this. So we'll mute a whole bunch of stuff. And that's the sub 37 as an audio clip, and it's just looping in that. And then all I have to do is just so all you're doing is just building and recording clips, and it just makes, like, hands-on, it just makes things so much easier. You guys kind of, did that come through all right? Because I was away from the mic. Did that work okay?
Yeah, that was sounding good.
Yeah, good. Okay, so the other thing I like to do is with the mixer that you see on this, right? I don't know if that view is good or this view is better. Tell me which one you prefer. So you guys can see the mixer here. So these are the tracks of the mixer. And you guys can see, it's hard to see, but you can see there's little lines at different sort of positions on each track. That's where you your decibel level is on each of the tracks. So if I start playing a whole bunch of stuff, you'll see all the VU metering coming through. So I can increase the volume. See that? Or I can decrease. So you can mix on the fly. Now, why? A lot of people probably don't realize how powerful that is, but why that is powerful is because at that little thing that I just did then, there's literally no synths connected. I could literally just have that Force, plugged into the PowerPoint and just sitting on my lap, and that would be the only thing I'm using. And I can control the audio, I can mix it, I can launch clips. Do you know what I mean? So I can do stuff before, get it set up, and then if I wanted to, I just wanted to perform, I could just take my Force with me if I wanted to. It literally would just do the job. Inky.
This is where the Force really wins. You've got mute tracks underneath it. You've got that mixer. It's got all the buttons you need on it. The one thing that it's missing that the MPC has got, which I'm assuming we will get, is the auto sampler.
Yeah, the MPC's got it. Yeah.
Yeah, because that would make life quite easy as well. And it also hasn't got on the MPC. I was doing the same as you this week, and I was recording audio from the DeepMind into the Force. And I'd just been playing with the MPC, and I was controlling the DeepMind with the Force, and I wanted to use the XY to control the filter, because you could do that on the MPC, but you can't do it on the Force yet. So I'm hoping with the next upgrade, because then that will be a really powerful machine to record. You could play synths from the Force and record them directly into the Force, or just sample them in. Yeah. But it really does excel at a live machine. If they had disc streaming, this would be kind of all I would need to go out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't need. I'd just take this.
Yeah.
Go for hours.
Yeah. Look, disc streaming isn't there yet, and I know unless they sneak it in on us, because I've seen the list of what they've got coming out in the beta software that people are testing right now, and the disc streaming wasn't in that list. So yeah, they could sneak it in now. They've done stuff like that before. I've told people this is all the stuff we've got in the beta test, and then they've gone quiet for a bit, and then they've launched the proper public release, and it's got features in it no one ever saw. So they could. I know that they definitely know that people want disc streaming. So I don't know why it's been ages. How long's the Force been out for? About 12 months, 18 months. So they definitely know. But
do you think it's technically possible, or do you think it's a technical hitch that they? Because I can understand why they've done the, live, Ableton Live stuff first, but they do know everybody wants disc streaming. Because I haven't checked it out. I think I'd like to check out how long I could carry on going before I use the memory. How many minutes? Is it an hour worth of tracks? Because what I need is like an hour's worth of tracks. I can't go out with I've run out of memory at 34 minutes. So that's probably something I should try out.
Yeah.
But as a performance, it's incredible. I'm a DJ, so I love all the cue points and cueing and the crossfader, and I think it's a really, really good piece of kit. It's difficult if you've never used Ableton, because there aren't as many videos on it as there are the MPCs. So by the time I got the MPCs, I'd watched that many videos. I knew all about them. It took me a week, whereas this has taken over a year to kind of scratch my head and go, oh, okay, I get it. But yeah, enjoying it, Rand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I don't hold me to it, but I do plan, with best intentions on doing videos, but I don't want to be doing any videos and looking like a complete fool, like I'm like right now, because that's, you know, I'm a complete noob at all this anyway. So, but I do. I mean, you know, once I start getting deep into it, I do plan on doing videos, and hopefully, you know, that will help. I think the Force is going to be around for a while. Go back to the disk streaming question. So technically, under the hood of the Force, it's a Linux operating system. So it's like having, you know, a PC in there. And if you've ever run Linux on anything, it's no different really. Technically, it's no different to Windows, technically no different to Mac. They've got web browsers, they've got ability to play videos, ability to play audio. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's got all that ability. Technically, you could put Google Chrome on there, you know, if you could do all that sort of stuff if you knew how to hack it. So is it possible for it to play streaming audio? Absolutely. It's definitely possible. There's no doubt in my mind they can do it. It's just whether the software that runs the Force, maybe they just have to do some tidying up with code, I don't know, or to sort of get it to work. Like, the other thing that Akai have got to be careful of too is, they've got the Denon stuff that they've got out there, which is one of their sister companies. And I don't know whether they're holding back because, do you know what I mean? Because I don't want to sort of kill sales of other products that are out there. I'm just worried that there's the bit of politics going on with this.
Well, I do agree. So there's little things missing on the Force that they're on the MPC and vice versa. So on the Force, you can alter where your track begins. So you can bring it forward a bit. You can't do that on an MPC. And I've looked at all the... now, I don't think many DJs would cotton on to this. Not your average DJ. Your average DJ is going to go out by the Denon 4 or whatever it is, you know, because I've thought about it. But then I thought, hold on. I tried it with Darren's tracks, actually. I thought, hold on. I could just DJ tracks in the Force and I wouldn't need that. If you know what tracks you're DJing anyway, because modern DJing is pressing a button, like go. So that I'm agreeing with you here. I think disc streaming would then, for a certain DJ, you know, who's going to think about it, they'd go, well, I wouldn't need both products, would I? Because I got 4 of Darren's tracks on and another 2, and I was running out of memory. So, I mean, there were full tracks, but yes, that I think you're right. I think if they do disc streaming, yeah, I can see where you're going with that. Then you wouldn't need both the Denon and the Force, would you? Which is exactly why I haven't bought the Denon yet, because I've got 2 MPC start. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So that it could just be like, we'll just politically hold off and not say anything as why. We'll just say, yes, we know you guys want it, it's coming. And, you know, I made a joke about this a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about when I first bought the Force, I actually went back and watched the original Akai video that the guy, forget his name now, we actually had the same problem last time, I keep forgetting his name, but every single time someone asked him a question, Andy, that's it, every single time someone asked him a question, he was like, oh, yeah, it's coming, or watch this space. It was every single time. And I feel like we should have a drinking game. Go back and watch the first Akai Force video and take a drink every time he says, watch this space or it's coming. He could get quite plastered after that.
Did you see the Loop Pop video with Pete? I can't remember his surname. Pete, the guy who's, you know, with Akai Dan, who's in charge of this.
Yeah.
That was pretty similar. It was like, I can't say anything yet, but we, you know, like they asked him about the crossfader. Will it be like an octatrack crossfader? And will it, well, I'm not saying, but we do like that idea. But then again, you've got to think that they've given us these products. What do? They're between the devil and the deep blue sea, really. What do? Do they give us these products when they're fully developed and we have to wait another 5 years? in which case none of us would have an MPC or a Force, or do they develop them over time? And we do know that they have kept their word. They're a bit slower than we like, but then I suppose it's quite hard. You know, I'm not a programmer. So I bought the Force because they had supported the MPCs. MPCs are totally different to when they came out. They didn't even have an arpeggiator in it, or, you know, and so I trust them. Don't go bankrupt in music. We need you. That's all I'm saying.
No, I actually completely agree with you there, Inky. I think I read a lot. You read a lot. We all read a lot of you know, people bashing companies like Akai and saying, oh, they're not, you know, this is still beta, and, you know, you shouldn't be releasing beta products to the market and making us test it and making us come up with their ideas. And there's other companies. There's plenty of companies that do that, and they don't get anywhere near as much hate. The question I've got is, when is something not a beta? When is something public? When is something finished? When, I mean, really, the technically you could say the Force is finished as it is. It still works. There's, you know, there might be some bugs that they need to fix, but they're not obliged to go out and make these updates. But that's not how Akai operates. Akai, you know, they've created a really kind of cool platform that people are starting to really buy into now. And, you know, that last update that the MPCs got, that was incredible. That was just incredible. And I now get why they say just be patient, guys, because we have to think, like, you guys come up with the ideas, but you're not thinking through all the little innuendos behind the idea. You're not thinking, okay, if he wants MIDI to plug in, how am I going to route that? And then how would the interface work? What would be the most intuitive interface if I was to put that into an MP? You know what I mean? Like, then people aren't coming up with the full idea. They're just coming up with the raw idea. So Akai have to go off and think tank it, develop it, test it, scrap it. It takes time. So, yeah, patience, definitely. Absolutely. All right. What we might do is we'll snap the show off, the main show people who watch this on replay. They'll just have to miss out on the cool stuff that will happen after I did. So what we're going to say is we're going to
ask a question before you.
Oh, you want this to be on the recorded one that everyone sees?
No, it doesn't matter. I was just saying because I'm actually very much pondering the idea of the MPC one.
Mm-hmm.
You sort of throw me into a bit of a state of confusion. I was actually watching some videos in the week about the Force. I haven't quite totally got my head around it yet. Is it? See, both of you have got both of them. You've both got the MPC Live, and you've both got a Force, and they obviously complement each other well. But if you were only one, I mean, I've never used Ableton, so I'm thinking maybe the Force is not for me. But would I be going down the wrong path?
No, I think I know Andy's situation. Inky, do you want to go first, or do you want me to answer?
Yeah, I will go first because I was in Andy's situation.
Yeah.
So knowing what I know now, I would probably get an MPC one and a really nice Novation keyboard. I'd want a nice keyboard. I'm unhappy with my Arturia key step there. I want a proper keyboard now.
Yeah.
But the MPC
I've got plenty of keyboards.
Yeah, he doesn't need a keyboard.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's got everything you can even do clip launching in it if you want to and learn how to. It's got a clip launcher. The only problem is the screen. You're tied to the screen, so whatever the screen's doing, you've got to be on the same thing on the pads. But I've got a set of pads here, a spare set of pads, and what I can do is hook it in via USB or MIDI and make the MPC learn that I want to hit that pad, and that's muting a track. So the MPC at the moment has ways round that the Force doesn't. At the moment, you're stuck with what the buttons, and they give you, almost enough buttons, but if you're altering your volumes on the Force, you can't be altering a synth at the same time. I don't know. Maybe you can. It's very difficult. You know, you'd have to pre-program it and all that.
It's a good start. So the MPC one would be a good place to start, because obviously, I mean, our conversation, we mentioned this before, is looking really at getting beyond these Electribes for producing sound, but also for controlling the other pieces of equipment here in this room. And it seems that the MPC one would be an extremely good way to go.
Yeah. So exactly what Inky said, but maybe slightly even more technical. That is that you can just get yourself, it doesn't have to be one of these. You can get yourself a Novation launch control, which is kind of similar. But this is pretty cool.
That's what I use.
So see how this has got a whole bunch of pads and also sliders on it, and it's USB based, right? So you can plug that into your MPC one, and what Inky was saying is true. So if you're doing like, for example, with me, if I show you this shot, you'll get a better example. So on my MPC one right now, MPC Live, sorry, right now, that's in MIDI track mute mode, right? So basically, I've got a whole bunch of MIDI tracks programmed into this, and I can turn each of those MIDI tracks on and off as I want to. Now, like Inky was saying, you can also do click launching. You can also turn down and up volumes, and there's all sorts of whole bunch of other stuff. But because the pads are tied to the screen, you have to go and change screens. And you can. There's key shortcuts for changing screens. And I'll give you an example. There's the main screen. So there's all my MIDI routing there. And if I go menu, hold down menu and press that pad there, it goes straight back to where I was. So it's not too bad. But then if you want sort of a bit more control, you can just program a MIDI device into it, and it does mapping. As long as the features, functions are in it, but you can map, pretty much most of the functions in it. You can't, Inky, did you find out that you can't actually map cutoff frequency? I've noticed, which is a bit annoying. But anyway,
what was synth or of the whole track?
Yeah, on a synth.
As in yeah, you can, can't you?
I don't think you can. No, I don't think you can.
Yeah. I'm sure I can. I'm sure I'll check it. Because I mapped. So what I did is I mapped this. So I'd got polyphony here, right? Resin cutoff, glide time. So I made a track where I was altering the MPC synth in real time. And then I'd got one of these buttons to reverse a sample, a drum track. So drum would reverse. And I'd got all these controlling, the volumes, and these were mute switches. So just by getting this, it becomes more powerful as a live machine than the Force in a way. As long as you remember what you've done. But you could write it, couldn't you? You could go drum track synth one. Because if you press this, these all do one thing, and then if you press another track, they do another thing. So I could have like 3 synths, you know what I mean? And 4 lots of drums and whatever. So yeah, and these are quite cheap, aren't they?
So basically, Andy, what we're saying is that just a piece of hardware by itself, it's really awesome, and it will do everything that you've said that you wanted to do. So if you've said that you wanted to be able to sequence MIDI your synths, you want to be able to plug a USB keyboard into it. You can map that keyboard to any of the synths, and I'll show you that in a sec too, just because I actually really want you to see that. But what I want to do is I do want to snap off this part of the show and roll the trailing stinger, and we're going to stay. Everyone's going to stay, so don't go anywhere. And this is just purely. So we're going to say goodbye to people who are watching on the replay. See you guys, and I'm going to hit this magic button.
Bye.